guys, Ralph here. Welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this magnificent Monday here in Connecticut. Life's good, campers. Life is good. Anyway, had a great start to the day. Haven't played a note yet. 350 swings. This will be a 500 swing day, I think. I really think it will. I'm off to a great start. Had 100 throws, baseballs down the beach. My arm feels great. I'm ready for the Mets bullpen. Somebody should be. Anyway, different video, different channel. You saw the thumbnail. How did we all get started at this? A little bit different. I'm going to lay out the pedagogy today. How do we get started at this, guys? How do we, if we're talking at the highest echelons of the music world, or the trumpet kingdom, down to the 10-year-old kid that wants to play in the band for his first notes ever. Everybody in between. Whether you want to teach, whether you want to perform, whether you want a comeback player, geez, you never had the chops you wanted. What drives us to do this? This crazy, crazy instrument. I'll give you my thoughts. I'm sure it's different for all of us. Anyway, let me honk a little bit and we will talk about that. Anyway, don't need no stinking warm-up. The high E flat wasn't locked in like it normally is, but first notes of the day can always caress the baby. Anyway, I got this email from my guy Dion. Now, Dion Johnson is quite a good professional trumpet player in his own right. He's moving around a lot now that he's retired. I have hard to keep track of him. But he sent me an email the other day, which was very interesting. I was very much touched by the whole thing. Now, Dion sends me little snippets of projects he's on, and he's an excellent trumpet player. Flugelhorn, jazz, double C guy, the whole 9 yards. But anyway, let me read his email, and you'll see where I'm coming from. This was the first Doc album I ever bought and would sit in my bedroom with my Con Victor cornet. The band director didn't allow trumpets and would play as much of that as I could. Okay? I was a farm kid and I had to milk 60 cows with my uncle before the bus got there at 7 a.m. And we were about 6 miles from school. My history teacher used to call me Charlie for Charlie Spivak and asked me one day if I'd ever heard Doc Severinsen. Okay? I said no. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock and never stay up long enough to hear Doc. Well, that Friday night, I stayed up late and for the first time saw and heard Doc Severinsen. I didn't know those notes existed as the fingering chart only went to high D, and I would play that. I actually went and got my cornet to discover he played a high G one-handed at the end of a commercial. Okay? The rest is history. I decided right then that was what I was going to use. I used to serenade the cows in the hayloft as everyone went to bed early. Crazy. Isn't that a great story? I love that story. Okay. The rest is history. He studied with Dominic Spera at Indiana University, another great, terrific trumpet player / educator. I met him once years ago, and he was very, very, very cordial and polite and nice to this young punk that didn't know what the hell was going on. So I will always appreciate Dominic Spera for that. Anyway, so my indoctrination came right from the beginning. My Both my parents were lifelong music teachers, and my father at the time, he taught everything. His major at the New England Conservatory was voice, and he taught chorus and all that, vocal mostly. But he minored in trumpet and studied with the great Roger Voisin at the New England Conservatory. I will say to this day, maybe it's hard to say, but some of the most natural chops I've ever heard in my life. My father now, he's my first teacher, okay? And I used to say, Dad, why is my tone so fuzzy and yours is so clear? The chops were perfect. Looking back at it now, we're perfect. He didn't have an answer. He couldn't tell me. And right then, at 10, 11 years old, I damn well knew it wasn't long tones because he wasn't doing any. He'd just come down and pick it up and boom, he'd sound gorgeous. And after I got, to college and all this stuff, I come home, I said, Dad, play an F scale. He plays an F scale. Never did this before in his life, okay? I said, play an octave above it. He says, really? What are the fingerings? I'll never forget this. The same as the octave below. Goes right up to F, as big as a house. Now try a G, the same thing. Big as a house. And didn't even know he could do it. Never did it again. Natural and a gorgeous, gorgeous lyrical tone. Straight from New England Conservatory, Roger Voisin. Okay? Couldn't tell me in his entire life how to do it. Okay? That was my first indoctrination. All these beautiful tones coming from the basement. And he used to teach private trumpet lessons. So, and my mother would be upstairs teaching piano. He'd be down in the basement teaching trumpet. And all the guys went down to the basement to teach my father, and all the girls went to play the piano. I wanted to be a guy's guy, even back then, and I gravitated towards trumpet. I was in 8th grade, and I was the only middle school kid playing in a very, very excellent Portland, Maine junior symphony, all high school kids. And the first trumpet player was a guy named Alan Graffam. And the first rehearsal, we played the Meyerbeer Der Prophet. I've never heard a trumpet like that in my life. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I said right there out loud, I have to be able to do that. I said it out loud. Nobody's listening to me. A little fart down in the end. I have to be able to do that. Now, I wasn't thinking about career stuff at that point. I just knew in my soul I had to know how to sound like that. And there it began. Now, about 2 years later, the band director, who was at my high school, I was a sophomore, I'll never forget it, called me into his office, and he was the principal oboe player with the Portland Symphony. So as far as regional orchestras are concerned, this is quite good. And we used to get ringers for different things from Boston itself. And this guy was a guy named Robert Pettipaw, and I never heard of anything before or anything since. But he's got this little cassette recorder. He says, Ralph, sit down, I want you to hear this. Presses the button. Ba-da-dee-da-da-dee-da. It was gorgeous. And then the whole brass section comes in. Boom, boom. Just sound like an organ. And to this day, that is my favorite trumpet lick. That is my favorite piece of music. Pictures at an exhibition. And I said right there, I said to the band director, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that professionally for the rest of my life. Now, at the time, I was quite a good athlete. I had D1 scholarships for baseball. Baseball was my thing. I played quarterback. I was a very good basketball player at home, but baseball was my thing. And I had a choice to make. But I just, since that time, I knew this is what I had to do. My father, Alan Graffam, and the band director. When I first got to New York, I wasn't there 2 months, and I had heard Maynard Ferguson. Boom. I want to play in an orchestra, pictures at an exhibition, and be able to play a double C. I guess I did that. Anyway, Mel Broyles came into the picture, and Vacchiano, and John Ware, and Jerry, and all that. But that was all to get what was in my mind back when I was 10 years old, listening to my father. That sound. My father sounded like Mel Royals. Sounded like. He wasn't a great trumpet player. That was his minor, just to get himself through the New England Conservatory. But that was my, not as cool as milking cows and playing for the cows in the farm. Dion, that is just great. That is just priceless. I had to do a video on that. And God bless you. Him, Perico, Nick, there's a handful of guys. Joe Avella's another one. Just sending me stuff all the time that I just love to hear. And guys, what I'm asking you to do, leave comments. Let's find out what got you started. All right, let me know. I find this very, very interesting. And who was the one player that got a hold of you? Guys, I'd be willing to bet for just about all of us, it was Doc and Maynard. And a little Maurice Andre maybe thrown in. But Doc and Maynard, I think, had the most influence over several generations of trumpet players. God bless them. Thank you. Thank you for that. And Robert Pettipaw, back wherever you may be. And Alan Graffam, who I know is no longer with us, died way too young of cancer. But my father's no longer with us either. So I'm outlasting you all, guys, and getting better. Why? God, I wish you guys had a 1SB. I wish my father, Alan Graffam Pettipaw, had a 1SB. Honest to God. If I had the 1SB back then, again, I wouldn't have had to go to Jerry to figure it out. Because the 1SB, either you can play it or you can't. And you have to play correctly to make it work. I was such a maniacal little twit back then. I would have made it work. And I would have gone 18 years old, I would have had these jobs. But anyway, enough said. All right, guys, I've been rambling way too long. Eat and drink fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Not the fake stuff, true power. Love you all.